Singapore has a reputation of a fine city. On one hand, Singapore is very clean, safe, and efficient. On the other hand, this comes with a price. Singapore has strict laws, and you can end up paying a fine for feeding pigeons or for selling chewing gum. However, in this video, I'm gonna give you 6 examples when Singapore is more flexible than some European nations. Yes, you heard me right. There are certain things that you are allowed to do here in Singapore, but not in Europe. I'm talking about legal restrictions, social norms, or hidden fines. If you watch this video until the end, next time you talk to a European who says that Singapore has too many restrictions, you will be able to provide at least 6 counter arguments. Hi everyone, I'm a European expat living and working here in Singapore. Let's go. Difference number 1, hanging your wet clothes in a public area. In Singapore, it's quite common in HDB to dry your laundry in a designated area, usually your balcony, or they even have a special drying rack connected to your window. However, in Ireland or in the United Kingdom, if you live in a multi-unit apartment block, it is prohibited to hang your wet laundry on a balcony or in any area visible from the outside. It's done mainly for aesthetic reasons. No one wants to see your underwear, but this rule is strictly enforced. There's no law, but it's usually prohibited by your lease agreement or building management. If you own a private house in Ireland or in the UK and you have a private garden, you're free to dry your laundry as often as you want. This rule only applies to multi-unit apartment blocks. I was told a story by my Asian friend that some students in Cambridge were given a warning for hanging their underwear at the window visible to other students. As you know, in Cambridge you live in a student dormitory, you have your own room, but then it's a shared building, so other students can see what you're doing in your apartment. I don't know if that's a Cambridge rule or other students complained to the building management, but when you are in the UK or Ireland, please do not hang your wet laundry on a balcony or any area visible to other people. Difference number 2, refundable deposit for a plastic bottle. In some European countries such as Germany, Scandinavia, Ireland, and the Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, whenever you buy a drink in a plastic bottle, you pay extra 10 to 25 cents per bottle. After finishing a drink, you can then return this bottle to a container that will recycle it, and you will get back your money. 10 to 25 cents doesn't sound like a huge amount of money, but imagine that you had 10 or even 20 bottles. You can then use this money to buy a ticket in the public transport, for example. Authorities encourage you to recycle plastic. If you don't do that, that's fine, but then you lose money. Whenever you buy a drink with a plastic bottle, your receipt will have a price for the bottle, let's say €1.99, and then it will also have this deposit, 10, 15, or 25 cents, depending on the country. In Germany, they even have a special word for this type of deposit. It's called fund, so you can always see it in your receipt. Singapore is less strict when it comes to recycling plastic bottles. You have recycling bins here in Singapore, but there are no recyclable containers, and there's no hidden fine or hidden fee for buying a plastic bottle. Difference number 3, quiet time. In both Europe and Singapore, you're not allowed to make noise between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. But in Germany and Switzerland, you're not allowed to make noise during the entire Sunday or on public holiday. It's called Ruhezeit or quiet time, rest time. The general rule is that any noise that comes from your apartment and can be heard by others is prohibited. This not only includes drilling or hammering, but also running a loud vacuum cleaner or a loud washing machine. Ruhezeit is included in your lease agreement and can result in a fine of several €100, or for repeated violators, this can lead to the termination of your lease agreement. Additionally, late night showering is quite common here in Singapore, but in Germany they had a public debate whether late night showering violates Ruhezeit or not. The court in Germany established that you have the right for late night showering, and this does not violate Ruhezeit because personal hygiene is considered a necessary norm and cannot be prohibited. In Singapore, Sunday or public holiday is treated as any other day, and you have Ruhezeit or quiet time from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. It's very hot in Singapore throughout the year, so people shower anytime and as often as they want. There's no issue with that. Difference number 4, tipping culture. In the world, there are two extremes. You have Japan with no tipping culture, and you have United States with a strong tipping culture. In Japan, if you tip, they will return money to you. In the United States, if you don't tip, you will get angry looks from waiters. Singapore is closer to Japan and has no tipping culture, whereas in Europe we have a modest tipping culture. In Singapore, tipping is not expected. The core philosophy is that good service is the standard, not something you should be rewarded for. Restaurants and cafes in Singapore almost always include a 10% service charge, and you don't tip in hawker centers. In Europe, people are used to round up to the nearest euro or pound, or they give you 5 to 10% tip for a good service. There is no law, and waiters will not give you angry looks if you don't tip them, but it's a general rule and social norm in Europe. When I'm in Europe, I always tip, but I never do that in Singapore, and I don't know anyone in Singapore who does. Difference number 5, going through a security check in the airport. In Europe, you're always required to take out liquids and laptop from your carry-on bag during the security check in the airport. In Singapore, it depends on the terminal. In Changi Terminal 4, you don't need to remove liquids or laptop. Terminal 4 in Changi uses an advanced screening system, so no need to remove anything from your bag. Some European airports have recently started installing new advanced scanners that also do not require you to remove liquids or laptop, but that's work in progress and only very few airports have it so far. Additionally, upon arrival to Singapore, Singaporeans, permanent residence holders, and long-term visa holders like myself do not need to take out their passport, scan their passport, or show their passport to anyone. Changi Airport in Singapore started implementing a passport-free face recognition check, which does not require you to show a document at all. In Europe, even if you are a European passport holder, you still need to scan your passport or show your document to the border security officer. And finally, punctuality. In such places as Germany, Switzerland, or UK, arriving even a few minutes late is considered disrespectful. In Singapore, people are more tolerant of minor delays and are in general relaxed if you're late for a few minutes. However, don't think that all countries in Europe are like Germany, Switzerland, or UK. For example, in Italy, people are always super late, and that's okay, no one really bothers. If you're 15 minutes late, people will ask you, why did you come so early? So it really depends on the country in Europe. Every country has its own set of rules that reflect their historical past. People from country to country value one thing over another thing. In one country, you may value more public safety and cleanliness. In another country, you may value quiet time more than anything else. Did I miss any social norms or restrictions in Europe that are not applicable here in Singapore? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.